Running fans, jumping fans, throwing fans, all around athletics fans. Welcome to Talking in Ovals. How is everybody doing out there on this Monday, March 9th, 2026, episode number 181? Hyatt, we're in March.
We
What
are.
doing? What are we doing?
Spring track started today for all of us
Oh, boy.
coaches in New Jersey. But man, I must say, yesterday I had the privilege of being at the Meet of Champions for New Jersey. That meet never disappoints. Best thing they ever did was move that meet to Ocean Breeze.
Oh,
What
yeah.
I mean, upsets, records. It was an absolutely phenomenal meet, and wow, it was just a privilege to be there and watch all these amazing athletes. One shout out to Siani Wynn, broke
Yep. Love
broke
Sian.
Sydney McLaughlin's state record with her 13th Meet of Champions gold medal. She's 13 for 13, and she ran 23.17 in 200 meters. I mean, indoors, I can't wait to see what she does outdoors because she's going for that 1 and the 200-meter state record, and I'm here to watch it. I mean, just everybody who ran yesterday, brilliant job, great meet. I have to give kudos to the NJSIA for moving it there and for having such a great meet. It did run long. The sprints and hurdles did take a little too much time, but overall, great day.
And Siani said it on this show. It was her goal to become the best sprinter to eclipse Sydney McLaughlin-Lavoni. So, I mean, she's well on her way. So, now, we were just privileged to be able to talk to Siani. What an amazing young lady.
Yep.
All the high school athletes we have on, we gush about them all the time.
Unbelievable.
But they're all just absolutely.
And I mean, and there were so many of them there yesterday. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
Paige Shepard ran a 4:35. Her teammate ran a 4:37. Like,
Yeah.
it's, I mean, just
How many of our
unbelievable.
past guests were just there, like around? Like, it's pretty cool to just think, like, we're
Between
just looking at all our
coaches
past
and
guests. Yeah.
athletes. Well, I was wearing my Talking in Oval shirt
There you go,
because
promoting.
my kid ran early. So then
Yeah.
afterwards, I was wearing a shirt, and the amount of kids that come in to say, I like your show. I had parents come up to me, other
So good.
coaches. It was cool.
Thank you to everyone that
Yes.
takes the chance to like talk, with you and listen to the show, or whether you're listening later or stuff. Like, I'm being terrible with Spotify. I'm 2 episodes back. I got to get up on that. But I got to give a shout out. Speaking of shirts, I'm wearing it today. Lyle, Blood, Sweat, and Spikes sent us some swag. We asked, he delivered, and man, it's awesome to wear. If you have not bought Blood, Sweat, and Spikes and you are a runner yet, running the Wetmore way, you're missing out about
Great
Coach
book.
Wetmore. Before he was over at Colorado, when he was
Back in
over
high
at
school.
Bernard's over in New Jersey, and really good stuff. So we're excited for that. So wherever you're watching from, X, YouTube, Facebook, Kick, or Twitch, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Let's bring in our guest because we're excited. Oh, real quick. 2 weeks ago, we talked to Ashley Higginson, and it was awesome. Ashley is someone that competed in my year over in New Jersey. And while I started to suck at running, she only got better. And it was so much fun to talk to her.
Oh, it was great, man. What a just a
Memory lane.
laid back, just a
Yes.
hardworking person. Like she's taken on the same infectious love that she had for running and into being into her career, and she's still running. It was awesome.
And for those keeping score at home, no, we did not have a show last week. We had a little bit of difficulty. Our guest felt sick, and then we tried to reschedule, and then it just ended up not working out last week. So we apologize to anyone that was looking for it last week. I know we have our faithful viewers that come and watch us week by week, so we apologize for that. We'll make sure that we try not to let it happen again, but it's podcasting. We can only promise so much. But this week,
Yes.
we are excited to bring this individual on. And I always like to give like a little back, like, there's some people where like you message them and then you wait and you're like, maybe I'll message him again. And you never know, because you don't want to be bugging people. And I'm just the king of the random message. I'm just everyone. And I'll go on a spurt. Like,
Yes, you are
on Instagram and look at our messages. And I'll be like,
I go through it. I'm like, I guess
Yeah.
Alex was
Yeah.
busy today.
But this guy, I messaged him and I was like, he looks awesome. Like, it looks like he's cool, like, into the sciences of running and stuff. And then right away, he's like, yeah, I'll jump on. And I'm like, those are the type of ones that make it so easy. And I love it. So we're going to bring him in. He is Dr. Bill Evans. He is a professor of exercise science over at Elon University, running and performance athletic development coach, and host of the Endurance Lab podcast, which has 6 fresh episodes. Dr. Evans, how's it going?
Hey, how are you guys? Thanks for having me. That was quite the intro. And I got to say, I really appreciated on the front end of this episode, the way that you guys opened it. I was like, I was into it. You couldn't see me in the corner, but I was like nodding my head, smiling.
That little sprite, I love that little sprite so much, the little running guy. But what I need to do, I need to make it so 1 week it's Dave in Dave's face on it running. Or maybe, that's what we should do. We should take our guest.
Our guest.
Put our guest face on it.
Face on it.
Listen, that's where AI comes in, right?
I was going to say AI is good for not a lot of things, but it's also definitely good for things like that.
Agreed.
100%. So we appreciate you coming on. Like I said, I saw, a little bit about you. I was clicking on and things like that. And I'm always on the hunt. And one of the nice things about Instagram and some of the social media, especially when like you're on like your specific, like for talking in ovals, is it'll feed me some random people I've never seen before. And I was like, okay, this guy seems knowledgeable. Let me jump on his page, and scrolled around. I'm like, absolutely going to invite this guy on the show. And It was awesome. So I appreciate you answering. And I do want to give a shout out to your co-host on the Endurance Lab podcast, because Dave and I wouldn't be anywhere without my co-host. Wrong side. See, podcasting there. I wouldn't be anything without my co-host over there, Dave, who kind of forced us to do this show. So Stephanie Brokaw, is that her name? Talk a little bit about Stephanie and why you guys decided to start the podcast.
Yeah. So Stephanie is super talented, and she's just turned 35. So she's now a master's athlete. And I told her recently, she's probably going to get both the 800 and the mile master's records, because she just ran 202 indoor like 3 weeks ago. She did it solo. So she did that. And then also she ran 428 at JDL. That's the pod right there. You got it up. Yep. That's great.
Yep.
So we've had a few good guests already. We had Marco Langen,
and you had Hobbs
Kessler. Hobbs was fun too. And I got Cam Myers. I interviewed him last week. He's going to be coming on. I'm going to post his episode.
Those are three amazing guests.
So everyone has to do a favor, because I'm over here on our YouTube. If you want to also go on Dr. Bill Evans YouTube, at Dr._Evans_running, you'll see the pod here. And if you want to see his lovely shiny face along with the guests, and Stephanie's over there, go on to it and do what I'm doing right here and click that subscribe button.
Smash that subscribe button.
Part. Click that subscribe button.
I'm new to the YouTube game. My brother is a strength and conditioning coach. His YouTube page, I think, has 13,000 followers or something. I don't know. He's good at it, and I'm like, man, I just don't feel like making thumbnails. I don't feel like making thumbnails, but I'll get better at it eventually. But to Stephanie's point, so how do we start it? Well, I was making content about science and running, and I had a few people kind of message me and say, hey, have you thought about doing a podcast? And I was like, I don't know. It sounds like a lot of work. Feels like you're putting yourself out there. And it's nerve-wracking, because when you're doing an Instagram reel, you have 30, 40 seconds, and you can write a script beforehand, which makes it super easy. Sure. But when you're talking to someone for 45 minutes, you have infinitely more space to screw up, misspeak, say something wrong, and especially talking about research. Like, I don't have all this stuff just burned into my brain, much to, I think, some people's surprise.
So here's the fun trick that Dave and I found. I think we recorded, what did we record, Dave? Probably like the first 70 episodes, 60 episodes.
Maybe more.
Yeah. When you record it, you can go back and kind of like grill yourself, and you want to edit it and make it sound great. Here's the trick. You do what we're doing now. You go live. And you start talking about it. And then if there's a research point that you slip up, you go, you know what? Let's look that up. You type it in, you Google search it while you share the screen, and you sit there and that's the beauty of some podcasting there.
I have just learned to just not care if I stutter or I mess up, because I'm a human.
Yeah.
So
life goes on. I think we live in a perfectionist society, to say the least.
Agreed.
And I'm lazy.
I stopped. Yeah, that's the thing. I stopped editing it this past week. I just told.
Make it raw.
Yeah, I was like, I don't care. I'm going to cut out the maybe if I feel like it. But at the end of the day,
oh my God. The only thing I used to cut out is like the dead air. If there was a lot of dead air, you cut it out. But then again, when you go live, Dave, you've perfected this too. If it gets too long, you figure out a way to fill it in. Like you make noises or something. Like you make it awkward.
Just start coughing, clearing your throat. So to finish the thought about Steph, she's kind of a crazy story. I hope she's not going to care if I share this, but she was working at the Home Depot. So she'd previously been sponsored by Nike. She had back surgery. She saw one of my videos talking about elite milers. And the point of the video is that elite milers are bouncier. So it's not just that they're faster, but for any given stride, they displace less vertical distance and they will actually go further. And so you can think about them like a stiff spring, essentially. And she thought that was interesting. She'd messaged me and more or less started talking about training. And she was like, yeah, I currently work at the Home Depot on the weekends. And I was like, what? Why on earth are you doing that?
Problem with our sport.
Oh my God. We have
problem with our sport.
So
like,
much.
why do someone who runs 202 at 35 or 201 and 428 have to work?
It doesn't make
crazy.
sense, right? And so, because if you think about it, this is one of our episodes was what is the equivalent of 4 flat for a woman on the track. And so we estimate it's about 36 seconds. If you exclude Faith, of course, she's kind of the outlier, and who knows as to why, but she's running whatever that equivalent is. She's incredibly fast. She's incredibly talented, especially at her age. And she lost a chunk of her prime to back surgery. All this to say, I had watched a podcast of her on something else. And I was like, she's compelling. Not only is she compelling, but she tells good stories. She's got a certain level of excitement about the sport. Like, she loves running. She'll say that to you. She's like, I had back surgery and I couldn't run. She said, I genuinely love running. And I love the science of running. I love the physiology. I love running as well, but I definitely had some bitterness through the years. Sure. And I feel like now I'm kind of back to the place where I've kind of gotten the love of it, but I'm sure everyone goes through that where you get hurt or you don't perform well or something comes up and you're just like, I don't even want to train. I don't want to read about it. I don't talk about it.
Or you get older and you're like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock? Like, what's the point anymore? That's the kind of where I got. I'm like I'll go now and run for like fun, but like for a while, I'm like, what am I training for?
The thing is too, and I think it also, I know, but I think it's also too. It's like when you're younger, you're working hard to accomplish goals, right? You're trying to get these PRs and this and that, and then you get a family, you get a wife, you get all these things, and it's like, I'm not chasing a high anymore. I'm happy when I get home. Like, I have an 8 and 5-year-old. Like, my 2 daughters still run up and give me hugs when I walk in. They're not just like scoffing at me yet. Eventually they're going to scoff at me and I'll be like, I'm going for a run, honey.
Mine are 16 and 11, and the hugs are not often.
No, but I think that is a difference as you get older, right? Like there's a certain level of motivation to it. Like, you got to be like super driven. And kudos. There's a lot of people that are super driven that still go out and are chasing. Like, they're, we had Coach Resch, Tom Resch, 60 years old, still could run a sub 20-minute 5K. Like, that was awesome to see. But I mean, it's so much easier to go home and just be like, I'm going to spend time with my family. Like, I don't want to go take another hour to go run. But I mean, I think there's different factors there.
Yeah, you got to think about what you want to get and how old your kids are. I feel like once they get out of the house, maybe you'll restart. I don't know. I read
terrible to say on a running show, right? I don't want to go run.
Well, I know, but I'll caveat it with this. The last episode we recorded was about the aging runner, and I read a paper. I'm going to say this a lot, so just get used to it. That I read a paper. So I read this paper, Vonda Wright, in 2007, 2008. She showed that sprint performance, and actually performance across most events, from, I think she went from the 100 all the way up to the 5K, the percent drop from the ages of 35 to 50 was less than 1%, across the board. So year over, I forget it was year over year or in total, basically there's almost no discernible drop in performance from the ages of 35 to 50. So I tell people, right? Cool. I tell people when they're starting to train in the ages of 40, 43, 44, like, well, I'm getting older. And I'm like, well, how fast were you at 35? And they're like, well, I didn't train. I don't know. It's like, well, we're just going to get you to the place you would have been when you were 35, and that'll be pretty good. So that's my encouragement for you to keep training.
So here's the thing. I've found that, like, at this age, like, I'm 37. I am scared to fully sprint. I don't know if my body will fall apart. Like and it's like last year I played in a pickup coach's soccer game because I coach my daughter's soccer teams.
Oh, that's
and
scary.
Like the biggest fear, like my first thing was don't get hurt, right? And I told everyone like, hey, my biggest challenge is I'm going to walk up to you. If I can't take the ball, you have it. I don't care. But it's like I went to go for a ball and I actually tried to open up and I just felt my muscles all getting angry. But then after that, nothing got pulled and I was like, all right, I think I can do this again. I started running around, but there's like scariness there when you don't do it all the time.
Did you warm up properly? Did you do strides, or did you just say, I'm just going to go and play?
I couldn't. I just got done coaching and they started the game without me. I had to get down there. Like I had to get in. The competitor in me wasn't going to go do strides while they were playing.
I think so. Like that is absolutely what happens. And I think a big part of it is that we don't sprint. So someone had asked me recently, because I think there's this perception that as you get older, your sprint performance drops. And there's truth to that, right? You can listen to a whole podcast we recorded on muscle fiber changes and why you get slower as you age. But there are some studies that show that when you sprint, you can preserve a lot of those qualities. And the main reason we get slower and more injury prone is because we stop doing the things we did as kids. Yeah. And then we just step out there and we're like, hey, I'm as good as I used to be. But you're not. Like you don't have the workload capacity.
Yeah. My thing is, I think like I trust myself to maybe go like 90 to 95%. I don't know if I will ever like fully sit there, get on my toes, like lean and try to do that 100 because I'm just like my body will just snap in half.
But just like that attitude,
exactly. No. All right, so
I just don't want to throw on spikes. So like that just makes me nervous. The thought of throwing on spikes again
makes me nervous.
We're going to do one of the things we always do. So Coach Evans, we like to give shout outs to those that want to send us their personal records. And we have one faithful coach, Coach Tom Figueroa over in Michigan, continues to send us his. So we missed his last week. So we have 2 weeks worth of records. So let's jump in real quick. And we always like to have our guests because we like to have your commentary as well. So Coach Figueroa writes, the indoor season is winding down, but apparently our athletes didn't get the memo because they are still turning up the heat. We just wrapped up the indoor state championships at Aquinas College in Grand Rapids. And despite that tight 200-meter track trying to slow us down, the PRs and podium finishes kept rolling in. Coach Figueroa, I like the poeticness of this. So let's give him some shout out.
The enthusiasm.
Yeah. So middle school female Taylor Schultz in the 800, eighth grader in the 400 ran a 102.51. So awesome for her. Middle school male, eighth grader Easton Netzley in the 1600 ran a 5:07.08, chasing that sub 5. A ninth grader, why can't I read today? A male ninth grader, Mason Rogers in the 3200, a 9:46.43, and then a 12th grade lady. Yeah. 9:46 freshman, fantastic. And a 12th grade lady, Charlotte Steele, which is a new name from them, and I love seeing that. In the 60-meter hurdles, ran a 9:78. So kudos to everyone.
Where's Michael? What's his name? Michael Scott. What's his name?
We got more here. I didn't even realize that. Our sprinter, we'll be seeing him, I think, in outdoor. So since we love a good highlight reel, here's a breakdown of the damage we did to the record books. Let's read it. We got to give shout outs here. Girls relays, the record breakers, 4x8 relay. Abby Luckman, 11th grader, Taylor Schultz, an 8th grader, Lydia Dwyer, 9th grader, and Kate Ord, a 12th grader, clocked a 9:37.64. Not only did they grab third place at state, but smashed their club record and punched their tickets to New Balance National. So that's freaking awesome. 4x4 relay ladies, Lucy Cross, 11th grader, Abby Luckman, 11th grader, Anna Howell, 10th grader, and Kate Ort, 12th grader. Got second place at state with a time of 4:04 and was another club record and their second New Balance qualifying mark. And then podium finishers for the boys relays, 4x4 relay, squad of Matt Laporte, 10th grader, Josh Sharik, a 9th grader, Henry Robinson, a 12th grader, and Seth Randall fought through the traffic to land on the podium with an 8th place finish of 3:35.31. So congrats to all of them.
Congrats, guys and girls.
We're not done, though, because we have this week, we got the update. So no big fancy chart. But we have, hey guys, good evening. We had a runner head to Chicago this weekend for the Illinois Media Champs, trying to hit her 400-meter indoor national qualifying time. 8th grader Taylor Schultz totally crushed it, qualifying for nationals and setting a new personal record of 60.83. That's awesome, Taylor.
It's great running for an 8th grader.
Happy you got that. Awesome running. So, Coach, what do you think of all these PRs, Dr. Evans?
I call it trackflation. I mean, it is. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah. No, this is insane. Like the thing that we keep seeing is that kids just keep getting faster and faster.
We're going to talk
faster.
about
We
that
will address
later
that.
too. Definitely want to.
I know. I'm
your
teeing them
input,
up, but like,
your
oh
input
my
on
gosh,
that one.
they're so fast. A freshman running 9:40 in the 2 mile in indoor.
Yeah,
Back in
yes.
2012 when I was in high school, 2009, that would have been already you'd be looking at a state medal.
Listen, we just had the New Jersey Media Champions, and I think there were 15 girls under 1040 or something like that, or like 10.
Oh, I looked when you guys were talking about that meet. I looked and I saw there was like four men who had run sub 154. There was
Oh yeah.
You got Christian Brothers Academy, like New Jersey
Always.
powerhouse.
Luke Nat ran at 853. I was watching. It was just 33. He was just so.
I mean, sub
intense.
9 and 2 mile, and then the guy in second got like 907 or something.
No, that was third. Second was 856.
God forbid.
And we had on Coach McCafferty, the CBA coach. Coach Torchia always watches. We always appreciate him. So CBA, we obviously cheer for them. Here we cheer for any Jersey greatness.
Actually, really quick, one of the biggest upsets there was there were 2 heats of the boys 1600. Right?
Oh yeah.
First heat, kid goes out from Union Catholic, goes out in 205. He runs 415. So
ran it the hard way.
That's the unseeded heat, right? So the seeded heat comes out, and they just watch that race, so they know what they have to do. Yet they decide to let it go out in 212, come back in about 203, but they were in 416. So the guy from the unseeded heat wins the whole state championship.
Wow,
it was cool.
Yep, you got to run to win. Got to run to win.
I wonder. Yeah, I don't know. I was taking a look at it. I was seeing one of my athletes is in Jersey, but I don't know if he competed there or not. His name is Sean Magone. I can never pronounce his last name, but he ran 418 in Jersey a few weeks ago. He won one of the meets up there. But yeah, I mean it's amazing. Like some of what the kids are doing today. I mean, in 8th grade, a female running 60 seconds. That's crazy.
Well, we also have Blair Bartlett over here, who is from New Jersey, over at
434
at Lawrenceville. Yeah, 434
and a 942.
Yeah, a 942, and
we have Paige Shepard, who runs 202 all the way up to
435. And yeah,
so
we've had Paige on the show. Paige is amazing.
She raced. Did she race at the indoor?
Yep. Indoor national.
She was in.
And he was Ajay Wilson.
Heat.
Okay, yeah, she was in there
200 or in the 800. She was in the same heat. She PR'd, I think.
Oh yeah,
she ran 202.
Yeah, it's amazing what we're seeing. She's a junior.
But her team, Union Catholic, I think has 5 or 6 girls at under 210.
Well, they had the second place girl broke 440 or something.
Yeah,
I was like, this is
437, and they run like an 840 something for a 4x8. It's some ridiculous.
What are these coaches doing? Like,
I mean, we've talked about it before, and we'll get to it a little more. But I think it's such a combination of things. It's so many things I think that are factoring in, but. Not to listen. This is sometimes you got to be the host. We got to reel it back in.
Yeah, pull us in.
We got to reel it in here. Dave's derailing me, and we got
to always.
So I want to jump to the nuts and bolts because we can't leave the show without talking about Dr. Bill Evans. So the first thing that I want to ask you, because you were a runner as well, which is why you fell into the love of the game and like what we do, starting your podcast and stuff. When did you get the spark to want to be a runner? And I always like to couch this, not when you decided to start running, but when it clicked that this is what I want to do, and I'm going to really dedicate myself to getting good at this. Because I feel like there are 2 different things when you started running versus when this is what I want to do.
Yeah. So for me, it was just going into, let's see. So I would say there's probably 2 main decision points. At my state meet, my freshman year of high school, we ran at Hershey Park in Pennsylvania, which I don't know if you're familiar with that course, but it sucks. I think it's no longer there now. I don't think they're going to run it.
Really?
The state meet. Yeah, I think they're changing it. But my mom's a high school coach in Pennsylvania. She was not when I was in high school, but once I graduated, she decided to pick it up. Needless to say, I was there and ran, I think, 1840 as a freshman. And which was like solid at the time, back in 2009.
I was
with
in
you.
1996, and that would have been very nice then for a freshman.
right back in the day, before bicarbon super spikes. And I remember thinking like, oh, that's pretty good. But I was still into basketball. Transitioned into my freshman year of track. I was still playing some like other sports. I was still playing basketball in the winter, so I wasn't doing winter track.
Yep.
And I think my freshman year of track, I ended up running my first meet. I broke 5 in the mile, which was like one of those standards,
That's
right?
big.
And then,
Yeah, that's big
right,
as a
it's like,
freshman right
it's
away.
a big mark, right? So you get that one off the board, and then I ended up going on to run about 2:03 in the 800.
That's
and I
awesome as a
think-
freshman. Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was great. But I have an identical twin brother, and he's a sprinter, and he had run 52 in the 400. So I was like, well, my genetic ceiling in the 400 is 52 as a freshman, and my genetic ceiling in the 800 is 2:03, and he was a 6'4" high jumper. So I was like, we got some range here.
You guys have it
And
covered.
I know. Well, yeah. If only we didn't plateau. So, needless to say, that was kind of the moment where after the state meet, I kind of decided, okay, I'm going all in. I'm gonna train this summer for the first time. I'm gonna try and get my times as fast as I can. And I think for most runners, usually we're not good at sports until we get good at running. And there's enough evidence to show that when you enjoy something, you are more likely to engage in it. And when do you enjoy it? When you're good at it. So
Yep.
I think like I realized that I had potential. My parents didn't go to college, didn't have a college background. So it was kind of the avenue to universities and colleges. And it was like, okay, I'm gonna go into this so I can get a scholarship, so I can afford to go to college and kind of track down that line. And so I would say that was kind of the turning point for me.
So what are some of great memories that you had from being a runner? So did you run in college? Where did you go?
I did not run in college. So my senior year, I had back surgery. I know.
Miserable.
Unfortunately, I know. So I had a stress fracture junior year, back surgery senior year, didn't even get to compete. I got recruited to Seton Hill University, which is a small school in Greensburg, Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
And that was kind of like, I felt like they were doing me a favor. I got a few like preferred walk-ons, but as a male in track and field, to get a scholarship at all is hard. And
Even harder now.
It's harder now. It was hard then.
Roster limits. All that stuff, yeah.
If you want to know how to do it, go talk to one of our other past guests, Ryan Searle, the preferred recruit. He's fantastic about helping athletes. And in all seriousness, Ryan, while he does come off brash, has a heart of gold. If you really want to get help being recruited, absolutely. Ryan's the guy to talk to. Sorry about that. No,
it's good to
he's
know.
not
Always
a sponsor,
plugging.
but if you want to hook up with a guy that's really like passionate about like bucking the NCSA system and doing it the right way, Ryan's an awesome dude. So
yeah, the current framework is a little broken. So I would say my best memory is probably my junior year. So in my junior year, I had a stress fracture. And I decided to compete on it because our team was like going to win districts as a team. And in Western Pennsylvania, that was a big deal. We had won like 3 of the past 4 or 5 years. I forget. So we had won a few district championships in a row.
Yeah.
And my identical twin brother had sprained his ankle. And so he, kind of a cool moment. He was triple jumping off of the opposite foot because he had sprained his ankle. And he still jumped, I think, like 39, which was impressive. And then
opposite foot almost breaking 40. Jesus.
I know he's a freak, man. And at the same time, I was running on a stress fracture, trying to get points for our team, and we ended up winning the meet. I think I think it might have been on high jump. Actually, it was a jump off, and my brother ended up winning.
So fun.
Yeah, they ended up winning the jump off, and it was like up, down, up, down. But just watching that, knowing that we were like on the brink, and I think people underestimate the team aspect of track and field.
Agreed.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Like when you really get it, and you have a team that cares, and you have a team environment, and it brings up the floor so
makes
much.
everyone better.
Yeah, and it gives me chills to think. My coach, it's kind of sad, but my coach, unfortunately, it's kind of crazy to talk about. He lost his wife to swine flu. So this was back in 2011.
Back when that was going on, the whole swine flu like that. It's crazy too, because it's one of those things where like obviously COVID affected everyone, right? That was something that you felt. But there were things like Zika, the swine flu, where they were like
H1N1, yeah.
big, but you didn't feel it. It was very rare that you knew somebody. So it's like always like that sucks that you had someone that you actually knew that suffered from it. Like the statistic there, that's miserable.
Yeah, it was super sad. Like I remember it manifested as pneumonia, but for him, he kept coaching that year because it was helping him cope and stuff.
Absolutely.
And so to like win that for him and the way that we did it with like a broken, beat up team that was the underdog, to get the dub for him. And he went on to become like a Hall of Famer in the Western Pennsylvania, or I think actually in the PIAA coaching system. Like
that's great.
He's amazing. Yeah, Chuck Katubi, he's the man. So that moment, I would say, by far, single greatest moment of my running career. I still compete now. I'm not as obviously competitive. I have a marathon on Sunday, so
nice.
We'll see what happens. But that's definitely it for me.
It's funny too, because we want to talk about some of the changes, right, that have come into the sport. A lot of coaches, if they have a talented kid that they know could have a career later, are looking at that meet and going, "Son, you got a stress fracture. Get away from here. Like, go away." Like, I think that there's a difference where, and I think we're seeing this even amongst the great programs, they're looking towards the kid's future much more. And this is not a fault of the coaches in the past. It's kind of just how it was back then, where, and it's what thing people need to realize is, as we're talking about this, Hyatt, the pressure of this. Coaches are paid. Coaches are paid to get results. They're paid to win. They're not paid to just be there. So, especially when you have a good program and is being good, like there's the pressure there to continue to keep that up. And if you have athletes like yourself or your brother, or the way I was, the way Dave was, where it was like an injury now I'll take care of later. I can compete. I'm going to get on there. I'm going to do my best. Right.
Yep.
Where nowadays it's like, I feel like everyone's a little more understanding of, I don't want to break this athlete. Like, I want this athlete to walk when they're 50. They're not worried about this one meet. And I think that's been a huge switch up in terms of the mentality sports wide. I don't even think it's just a track and field thing. I think it's a sports wide phenomenon. I think we're getting results because of that. Kids are allowed to have longer careers because of those things. Have you seen any of that on your end, Phil?
Yeah, 100%. I think you can also look at just the participation in dual meets across the board. You'll find that usually especially among high schoolers, the engagement is much, much lower.
See, I love dual meets. I love dual meets.
We don't have them.
I know Jersey doesn't have them anymore.
We don't have them anymore.
Then they got rid of dual meets.
We have a division meet, so it's like all your dual meets are all at once, but we separate them so it's like 6 teams going together, and then you just you score them all separately. Like this team how they would have done against here. It's a little different as a coach, because you're trying to look at all right, well, in the 16, you don't have to worry if this kid beats you, but you have to beat this kid from this team. So it's
basically you got to run as hard as you can in every race, which is
pretty much,
which is very different than I think having dual meets where you're just trying to. It's really a sit and kick. It ends up being very tactical week over week. And
it's a training session too. I think the best coaches, especially if you have good kids, a few, I knew a few of the races where I'd have to get up and I'd have to run, right? Like we had some good kids. I was going to see them at counties. I was going to see them at states. We're right around the same PR, but you also knew those kids. You were looking at each other going, are we really going to PR today? No, I have 3 more races. Okay. Well, we'll do this and we'll figure it out at the end. Whoever has a better 4. Like you figured that out because everyone knew, okay, I was an 8 miler, 3,200 guy. Okay. If coach is going to put me in the 8, maybe the 32, and then I'm gonna have to walk right back to the anchor of that 4x4. Yeah. So we all knew what we were doing. So no one was trying to go out and PR. I just think coaches weren't smart enough about dual meets, and getting rid of them sucked because the rest of the roster suffers. You can't.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is
younger kids.
Yeah, you lose the opportunity for young athletes to compete, and I think competition is so important for.
We have But I mean, here we have so many different freshman novice meets that
that's cool.
Kids still get. Cool. I mean, there's so many of them.
There is.
Yeah. I mean, that's sweet, and I think good coaches use dual meets the right way, and they add maybe a little stimulus afterwards, which I really like. And I think that's what you're starting to see now is, okay, maybe we're not gonna. You're gonna run this mile. You're gonna run this 8. And I think coaches that can make decisions in real time based on how the race goes are really able to separate themselves. Because if you have a kid that runs, say, 4:30 and they go run the mile in 4:45, and they look good, they kick well, you look at them and you say, hey, after the race today, I want you to go do a 20-minute tempo at your threshold or whatever, 2 by 10 minutes, go get some extra work in, build your volume out. Conversely, if you have the same kid and they run 440 and they look rough, you don't do the same thing, right? No. You look and you say, hey, rest up, go do some easy miles, relax. And I think that is kind of the paradigm shift. That was like a thing when I was training, and I think it was a thing probably, people have been doing, but really now it's much more common to see people. It was really at the college level, you'll see it all the time, especially at, when you're knocking the rust off, you'll see people working out after those races all the time. And so I definitely think the frame of mind is different. And I don't think it's necessarily bad, right? No, you're seeing the fruit of it. Everybody's running faster.
Yeah. And I think also like it's different too, like where you could use dual meets as kind of like a shake-off race, right? Like, because a lot of times like we all fall into, okay, we have an 800 kid, he's going to run 1,000,000 800s. But then you sit there and instead of wasting an invitational where you're going to have him go shake off run a mile or a 4, you could just send him in a dual meet and say, go compete against the 400 guys. You're going to get dusted, but go drop a 53, 52, whatever it is. Just move your legs a little different. Where now you're sitting there and picking and going, oh, do I want to waste a weekend with that? And I think that does make that a little bit harder. Now, Dave, you could talk to this a little more being a current coach with that decision, because you have some kids that I know you're aiming to do some big things in outdoor. Is it tough to target those meets, especially when you have a plan where you see that they're like, okay, they're hitting mile, and they're a miler, but something's not working. The training's good, but their races aren't great. Is it tough to target that race to go run a 2 mile or an 800, switch your leg speed up a little bit?
Not really. I mean, there's so many meets now, like at Homedale, they have like the night of the miles or the night of the 3,200. Yeah. So like you can go and just run that one race, and everybody's running that one race. It almost has like a cross country feel because everyone's running the same thing. So there are plenty of meets, and it depends. Like you have to know your kids, like your good kids, you don't care about the early season meets. You're all right. Like we're going to run a DMR. You might run this, and this, but it's not like high intensity. It's just kind of just get it in. And then your young kids, you might have them focus more, right away. It's hard. You just have to know where a kid, but there's so many meets now that there's places for everybody to get a shot.
Makes sense. So in terms of, for your sense, where you're, a doctor in exercise science and things like that, how does understanding the body not only help coaches, but help athletes? And what can we do more in terms of, because we've talked about this, I forget who we talked about with this, Dave, but we don't focus on our feet enough as runners. I forget who we had on. We had somebody on that
Zig Ziglar.
Yes. You can running. We've had Zig on. I don't know if you know Zig, running kinesiologist. We've had him on twice. He's doing the Z Athlete Village, or actually the Indoor Track and Field League, World Indoor Track and Field League. But he talked about just like, knowing the science of the foot in general. From your perspective as an exercise scientist, what is the importance of knowing the physiology of the body?
Are you sure you're ready for this answer?
Let's go.
I mean, you're the one that has a little bit of a time limit, so no.
Maybe that's how you got your last guest to stay longer. So I would say, yeah. So I would say, in short, when you understand the physiology, it takes the pressure off of cognition, which I know sounds crazy. But when you understand the physiology and you realize that your body can only do what it's capable of, it takes the pressure off the athlete, right? Because now you're not asking a question of, am I tough enough to do it? Is this a mental thing? And there is a cognitive component, right? Yeah. Central governor theory is based in that whole theory that your brain is basically protecting you, but it's protecting you. That's a protective mechanism. And if you increase the physiology or improve it so that you can improve performance, then that falls away because now you are a better runner. And so I think some classic examples of this that I often see in my own training, and certainly with some others too, is that you can reframe and you can use some different cognitive techniques while you're running to take the stress off the pain, right? For example, one of the things that we know with marathoners is that they lose the ability to relax their muscles. It's not actually that they can't contract them as forcefully. That does happen, but the bigger issue is when they can't relax them, because then what happens, two muscles pull at once and that creates what we call a co-contraction, and actually causes a functional stiffening that you kind of have to fight against.
Is that through like the constant pounding and repetition of those motions that it just kind of falls into, a lull of just that? Like there's no change kind of? Is that what causes that?
So what causes it is not entirely clear, but what we think is happening is that they're experiencing what we call rigor, which is rigor mortem is when you die, you stiffen up. And that's because you run out of energy currency, which is ATP. So what happens when you're running is two things. One, ATP becomes somewhat less efficient. And two, the normal electric potentials that travel. So there's current traveling in the muscle all the time, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And when that becomes slightly less efficient, the timing, and that's why is it becoming less efficient? Because of the pounding, because of the repeated use. It's essentially like you're taking a light switch and you're just going click, 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 click. It eventually breaks down. So the same thing happens where we don't see I'm sorry, I'm getting sciencey, but we don't see
we love it. That's what we brought you on here for.
Yeah. Okay. So we don't see that kind of like flip in current as quick as it should be. And so the muscle can't relax quickly enough. And it appears to be that the membranes themselves are potentially not as efficient. Another thing that we know happens is there's a special pump in the body that kind of maintains these currents, and it gets potentially a little like dysregulated. And so normally it's supposed to sit at a very specific number, and all of a sudden too much of one thing comes in and you can't relax when you ought to. So that is the reason I'm talking about this, is because when you're running, so how does this help you? When you're running, it's more important to think about relaxing at the right time than it is to thinking about like pushing off and really like driving your stride or whatever, especially in something like a marathon. In the same breath, if you're on a long run and you're noticing your heart rate drifting up, I know that that's a function of epinephrine release in my body. Okay. So what also happens? Well, I'm going to start to break down sugar and free fatty acids, some other things. So I know that I'm probably going to start feeling bad. Or if I'm running in the heat, I see my heart rate drifting up. I know that's not a lack of fitness. It's dehydration. It's plasma volume shifts. And so it makes it a lot easier to explain why you're seeing what you're seeing, which to a runner is so important because we're all head cases.
Yeah. And taking away that mystery makes it, like you said, it makes it better because you understand what's happening to yourself. So the worst thing for a runner is questioning, am I doing enough? Right? Okay, I feel like crap. I did this run 3 weeks ago. This is part of my training plan. Why do I feel like crap today? Okay, what have I eaten the last 2 days? How has my sleep been the last few days? Like all of these factors factor in. And like you said, especially for distance runners, because we're neurotic weirdos, we are
the best description.
Oh yeah, we're a bunch of neurotic weirdos. It's what we are. That's why we go and we want to run long. It's like for us, not knowing is the worst thing. And when you're talking about energy and how it's and the science of why we start to tighten up and things like that, it just comes to mind with me that with the way sports are going, like we see the LA Marathon is going to be giving medals after you complete 18 miles instead of the 26 too.
Don't get me started on that.
So the thing is, how long are we until we start to see marathons offering quarter energy, bringbacks, right? Like, hey, everyone that gets here would be like a pit stop. Like you sit there and you can, once you get to this quarter point, you have to take a 2-minute break, and it starts when you get there. And you have to refuel your energy to make sure that you have all the energy you need, and taking away. And listen, I think it's coming. I think it's coming more than we believe, because we're just trying to get results instead of making the things difficult like they're supposed to be.
I think in a sense that's already happening with fueling.
Sure.
Right? You can't go run a marathon without
everyone
fuel.
Yeah. Everyone
has
their pouches.
With you got like 2 handfuls of gels.
You got a fanny pack on and you're running.
But the thing is like when you train as hard as you do and you put all the work in, you want the result. And if you know it helps, you're going to do it. Yep. And, I wonder if one day we're going to see with all the tech, especially with fueling and shoes and bicarb and beta alanine and caffeine and beetroot juice, and I could go on and on and on, all these ergogenic aids that are legal. At some point, we're already starting to see diminishing returns. But the other thing is that they're gonna have to make some decisions, because at this point we're picking and choosing what things are okay and what things aren't.
Yes, sure.
And
Yes.
and the way that they're choosing that is not necessarily I don't understand the rationale. Okay. For example, we know that caffeine, long-term caffeine use can be detrimental to your health. Okay. And so let's just take that for example.
Yep.
And if we take that same principle and we say, well, steroids, they can be detrimental to your health. So that's why we're not allowed to take steroids. It's like, okay, well, you're kind of picking and choosing, and you don't know the magnitude of the change. There's not longitudinal studies on bicarb, right? We don't know what that's going to do to people's
Have
GI.
I not been saying this, Dave, ever
Yeah.
since we talked about bicarbs? When you
Like-
are adding a foreign substance at the amount that people are doing it, it's going. Here's the thing: there isn't a possible way that it's not going to have a negative effect on somebody, right? It might not
Yeah.
be an overall blanket. This is bad, but somebody is going to
Some
sit
people
there and
just
20
can't
years
take
down
it.
the line. But 20 years down the line, we're going to hear about a runner who was great, who was setting records in this time, whatever name it might be that pops up. And they're going to be someone that we all remember fondly. We're kicking ass on the international scene. And it's going to come out that, hey, doctors have showed now that bicarbs are the reason why I'm suffering from XYZ. And
I'm hoping that you're wrong. I really hope you're wrong, but it's possible, right? And I mean, there was a recent study that looked at marathoners and ultra marathoners and basically showed that in people who run more than 6 marathons in their life, they have an increased appearance of like polyps or cancerous regions in their intestines. Why? Because there's a lack of blood while you're running, and then it rushes back in and it causes damage. And so, that study hasn't been published, and it's not like concrete yet. It was just an abstract from a conference, but I think it's possible, especially luckily the bicarb doses aren't too crazy, but like we know it causes GI distress. Like it makes
Some
you
people
crappy.
can't yeah, I mean, some kids can't even take it. It's
But
just
too
much.
the thing is, it's not too crazy at the moment, but when they're doing it for every race, it adds up. And then one thing is too, for me, when it happens, what happens when they don't take it? When their body's expecting it, when they're sitting there, and you as a doctor will know this, when you're getting into these big moments, your body starts to have these chemical reactions of when I'm getting ready to run a race. How does my mind happen? How does my body physically get ready to do this? And if part of that is the bicarb, right? What happens to the athlete when they don't take it? How's the body going to react? Like it's becoming something where it's expected, and we know some of these elite athletes are using it on their hard workout days.
They don't hide it.
Then they don't hide it,
And they don't have to hide it.
But I agree with you, Dr. Evans, that they are looking at. We know it's a performance enhancer. Like it is clearly a performance enhancer, and it is a performance enhancer that is a foreign substance going into the body. But it's fine, right? And all these other supplements that end up being, they're performance enhancers.
There's a lot of them.
And we're seeing the proof of it. We're seeing American middle distance finally catching up to the Africans, which we now know have been performance enhancing anyway in their own way over the last 20 years, right? So it's like
the last 2 years has been real bad.
2 years have been bad, but we know that since Africans have really taken the stage, and when the Eastern Europeans had the middle distance and long distance under wraps, and then when they were done, the Africans kind of took over, but we're finding out that they were doing a lot of things. And it's like, like you said, Dr. Evans, like, is there a line that's going to be drawn? Do we need to just go, hey, supplement free, unless you have a doctor's note for something, like a legitimate one, not an Alberto Salazar doctor note, a real one, like
therapeutic use exemptions everywhere.
But here's the thing.
I think.
Go
Go ahead, Dave.
I'm saying, but if we get to that point, like we're going to lose all the momentum that we have going forward because people are tuning in because we're getting all
Who's
these.
tuning in, Dave? That's the question, though. Who's tuning in?
Well, okay.
We're tuning in. No one new is tuning in.
All right.
That's our biggest problem in our sport. No one new is tuning in.
But we like it because like we like watching to see like what are the limits of the human body. Like we love to kind of see that kind of take place. Like we've already seen what happens when you don't take bicarb or you don't have these new shoes. Like I'm kind of intrigued to kind of see how far can the human body really go, because I don't think we even know yet. Like we keep surpassing what I remember, like when before Roger Bannister, people thought that the human body would self-combust if you broke 4 minutes.
It still might. He was using performance enhancers.
No, he wasn't.
Now we know what gets Dave going. It's performance enhancers and Roger Bannister. But I think there's like a few elements here. The first thing that comes to mind while you talk about that is that I think training with these things is giving a superior physiology, right? And you can think, you know what I think is going to be big in the next few years? Mark my words. Blood flow restriction on interval days. Mark my words. Yes, there's a study that was
How would you
published
go about that?
So they make these essentially they make these tights with a strap on them. And so what you would do is you'd wear the tights like the regular half tights, and then you would cinch them down during your either recovery or maybe you do a subarterial occlusion during the rep. We don't know the exact optimization, but we already know that doing blood flow restriction enhances muscle function. Like it's used in physical therapy clinics. There's tons of research on it and it works. Now we're seeing that it can enhance endurance performance, and the physiology is complicated, but generally your muscles limit your performance. It's not your heart usually. So by adding these blood pressure cuffs and doing this blood flow restriction, what they basically are able to do is increase the capacity of the muscle that's causing the fatigue. And what's best about it, the craziest part, you don't necessarily need to run at very high speeds. Why does that matter? Because the faster you run, the more damage you put on the joints and you increase the tendon issues, right? So essentially the idea would be that you're going to get the metabolic adaptations without all the structural issues. So point being is right. So
science is freaking cool, man. Science is
you heard it.
Cool,
you heard it here first. So the other part of this is that training with these things, people are running faster. Like when you run in super shoes, you have higher impulses.
Yep.
When you have higher impulses, you're subjecting the tissue to something new. As a result, it adapts, it responds. When you take bicarb, you can run faster. That's a neural adaptation. That's gonna cause the body to respond. So I think even if you take modern runners and you have them on race day strip off all the fancy stuff, right? Let's put them in a 2012 pair of Vicks and no bicarb, and let's put them on whatever surface they had.
They'd still run fast.
I still think they're going to run faster because
of their training. Gotcha.
They're training with newer tech, so they're getting more of a stimulus. So is there going to be a breaking point? I don't think so. I think the line that WADA has appeared to draw, at least from what I can tell, is if it is a synthetic substance that is going to affect particularly something at like a structural level. So if it is going to build more muscle, if it's going to make more red blood cells, if it's going to make your heart bigger, if it's going to something that is structural, they're going to ban it every time, right? But if it's an acute functional change, I think they're a little less strict about it, particularly if it affects the nervous system or metabolism. So I think that appears to be like what I can observe. And even then they'll put like upper restraints. So I think like caffeine has like an upper limit. I forget what it is. Same thing with inhalers, right? They like the steroid inhalers, you can only take like 3 puffs or something. I forget.
Which I understand the inhaler side, because people do have asthma, people do have things, and you want to be able to allow them to at least get that attack under control.
There's people taking inhalers who don't have asthma.
Oh, of course, and they get the script to do it. And listen, but listen, here's the thing. There's the old phrase, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right? And that is, everyone pushes the limits, and you should, because if you're not, somebody else is.
But here's the question. Like Bill, like you said that they do that. Like, should there be a difference in a pro athlete doing it versus a recreational runner who's just trying to like get their best time? Like, do you feel that at that pro level, it is more of an advantage than it would be like, you know what I'm saying?
So is the question if a pro is going to see more benefits from this type of stuff?
Yeah. Or is it more substantial because like nobody cares about your local guy running a 5K who's taking bicarb? Like, it doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just like in general, but people care like as a pro. So do you think that matters, the level of runner that you are? And also, do you think that all these high school kids should be taking all this bicarb and stuff?
I feel like there should be more strictness at the pro level, because nobody cares about the local gym rat taking steroids. Nobody cares about that. But I feel like the pros should definitely have more strictness.
But I think like they all have to go together, because the high school runners are going to go to college and they're going to go to the pros. So one is going to lead to the other. So if they're not consistent, you're going to have issues. So that becomes the problem, is if you try and limit it in one place, you have to limit it elsewhere. So things will inevitably trickle down. So I think in terms of where the guidelines should be, I think it's okay for high schoolers to take these things. They've largely been shown as safe, and at least from what we know, and they've been doing this since the 1980s. Like the original bicarb study came out in the 1980s, and they were like, people crap themselves. We're not going to do this. But turns out runners don't care, right? And
No.
so you had a few nuts
Runners
that
pee
were
themselves
like,
in every single marathon. So you think they really care?
I'm going to do that this time. I stopped
There
to pee last time. I regretted it.
Well, because your legs get tired. Like you don't realize that minute.
Once you
will
stop,
ruin
though,
the
like,
whole
it's-
entire pace.
because once you stop, it's hard to get back because your muscles are like,
Yeah.
all right. You're
I might
relaxing
even
now.
just put a catheter in. I don't know, but
That's aggressive. That's only for the Ironman.
whatever it takes. But that's the
Whatever it
mindset.
takes to
like,
break that 230. Damn it.
that's the mindset,
It
right?
is
Like
mindset.
that's what we're saying is like,
Yeah,
I'll
like
put catheter
people
in.
and like to say that like long-term health, these athletes don't care. They're in the now trying to run.
Here's
what
the
they
thing,
can now.
And
They
here's
don't
what
care
I'm
what's gonna
gonna
happen when they're
say.
60 years old, or if they even make 60, they're like, hey, how fast can I run now?
Here's what I'm going to say to the 95% of pros. The 5% that are making money, okay, they don't have to care. The other 95%, they're not making any money. Stop breaking your body. If you're not near that multi-gold medal, winning the worlds all the time level where you're going to get a legit contract, until we make money in this damn sport, they might want to think twice. Like, I don't know. Like,
but here's the other thing that I think about it from a bigger picture is the public health messaging, which sounds crazy, but we know that people don't exercise. Like if you poll people, I think it's something crazy. Like 50% of people will say that they exercise 75 to 150 minutes a week. And then if you actually measure their physical activity, it's like flossing. You know, everybody says they do it, but nobody does. And so when I think about it, I ask myself the question, because, you know, I've never taken bicarb, but I'll tell you what, if I race a mile this summer, I'm taking it. I'm going to find out. And I think
then you're going to shit yourself immediately after.
That's fine. I'm going to wear Depends while I do it.
There you go.
But I think that the question is like, if it encourages someone to engage in physical activity, then I'm for it. And if my performance encourages somebody else to maybe get into a run club, or they start to see benefits, right, then I'm for it. Because I think especially with super shoes, you can take people who maybe 20 years ago had no business breaking 20 minutes in the 5K, and all of a sudden they can do it with a much lower input, right? And they break this monumental barrier. You've created somebody who now enjoys running, and they're seeing benefits. Yeah. And I think like that creates this cycle of good behavior that I'm like, all right.
Well, to me, it's kind of like GLP-1. Like the more people taking it, but now more people are active and more people are working out. And the
GLP-1s are terrible for you. Like,
no,
that is
I don't think so.
It's good for diet. Listen, if you're diabetic, sure, but there are so many side effects right now that we are seeing from GLP-1s when people are not diabetic.
But it's getting a lot of people to lose weight, and they're eating healthier, and they're seeing the results. So it's the beginning. I'm not saying that it's good or bad, but it's definitely a trend that is leaning towards us as a society caring more about what we eat and what we're
because they could take a pill and get skinny off an instant pill.
Well,
like,
you know,
the laziness of people is insane.
We used to say that if exercise was a pill, everyone would take it. 100%. Now we have it. It's called GLP-1. Yep. No, I'm not sponsored by Big Pharma.
Face. I don't want to get the Skeletor face that GLP-1 people have. I won't do it.
Wait, do I have it? No, I'm just kidding.
No, you look fantastic. You look awesome.
Thank you. My hair's falling out. That's my biggest issue these days.
I mean, I'm growing it out because my hair, I don't want it to fall. This is like the last hurrah of my hair.
Dave rocks it. I'm fine with it.
So
it's gonna happen.
Here's the question. Do you think because of this bicarb and shoes, that's why we're seeing, like, if you go back even like 5-6 years ago in the 800, right, pro level, you had David Rudisha, but you didn't have 15 guys running 142 or better. Do you think all of these things
There's a ton of 145s and then a few guys running 142, 143, 140?
But I mean, now, like, you're at a race, like, you don't run a 142, you're not sniffing top.
Bryce Hoppel got fourth in a 141. Like, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life.
I know. So like,
but he did that. Where was that?
At the Olympics. He got a 141 at the Olympics, and he got fourth. Fourth in 141.
Shattered the American record and got fourth in 141.
And it wasn't like a 141.9. It was like a 141.6.
Yeah, and we're like, you just
broke the 141.
You just shattered the freaking American record, and you got nothing to show for it. You got a fourth place.
So,
but I mean, but like, yeah, I'm saying, because like that, and obviously training now is so much better, because like when I was young, and I'm going back to high school.
Oh,
for a
hit us
second,
with it.
if you had like a bad high school coach, that was it. Like you didn't have a chance. Now it doesn't matter where you go to school. You can go online and pay and have this coach give you a workout, or like it's so readily available now. There's almost no reason not to be good now. If you care now, there is a way for you to get better.
If you're not good, you suck.
No, I'm saying, but like you no longer you no longer have that
Yeah.
kid who has no coach who might have talent. Like if they want to be good, there's a way for them to get the training that they want. So do you think that all of those things are reasons why we're seeing such an influx in time, especially here in American from the 800 up?
Yes. I think it's an intersection of multiple things. I think it started with COVID. So during the pandemic, we saw less racing. As a result, we saw more training. We also saw digital content spike. I mean, it was the only thing you could consume.
Yep.
So now you've got no races. You've got an influx of digital content and educational resources that people are consuming because they're not doing anything else.
I think Strava was also huge.
Strava blew up. I can look at Cameron Myers training. I can look at Marco Langen's
exactly.
training. And I can see that they're.
I follow Marco. He's a great follow, by the way.
Would you say that
terrific.
kind of learning how to solo race helped there too? Because you did a lot of like the 5K digitals, and everyone was going out and solo running fast, like fast marathons, fast 5Ks. Did that kind of?
I think that plays a role. I think that and the anxiety of not being able to race. Like everybody was like, I need to race because they couldn't. And so there was like so much fervor for the sport at that time. It was one of the things you could do. So like you have Strava, I think is probably one of the biggest influences. I would argue more than Super Shoes, more than bicarb, more than whatever, what other people are doing, and you can.
I have athletes on my own team like, oh, did you see what this person did or that person did? Like, oh, they're now doing tempo runs. Can we do tempo runs? Or they're now doing speed. Can we do? Like it's really made everyone aware of what other people are doing. Because in the past, I had no idea what anybody else was doing.
FlowTrack had the workout of the week when I was there. That's about it. We had FlowTrack's workout of the week, and we were seeing what NAU was doing, and our coach was going, "You're not that good."
Alex, there was no internet when I was in high school. So,
well, yeah, you're a dinosaur.
I was seeing if I have it in here. I have usually my students took it. I teach a class called testing and prescription, and they get clients where they get to assess them, prescribe. And I was like, hey, I got 2 copies of Jack Daniel's running formula. That was it. Like that was
everyone's Bible. That was everyone's Bible.
I mean, that's what you had. And I think when Strava came out, you started to see what people were doing. And also people run easier now, right? The 80-20 shift that happened about, like I think it was probably in the 2010s, 2000s for cyclists. Cyclists are always ahead, by the way. If you want to know what runners are going to be doing in a few years, look at cyclists.
Didn't Zig say that to us exactly? He said, you have no idea. If you think there's cheating going on now in running, you have no clue what you're. He's like, they are leagues ahead in terms of cheating.
I'm going to give you some things that they do. Okay. 1, they huff carbon monoxide. Okay. I'm not kidding. Yeah, they suffocate themselves to increase oxygen carrying capacity. They huff carbon monoxide.
Isn't that the theory of hyperventilating?
That is incredibly dangerous.
Isn't that a similar theory to hyperventilating before you try to hold your breath underwater because you're starting to like activate that sensation?
Wow, that is a deep cut. I studied underwater physiology when I was at APL, and that's one thing I learned. That is a deep
Listen,
cut.
I pretend to be intelligent every once in a while on the podcast. Okay, it's a random act of thinking.
Yeah, hypercapnia, it turns off your need to breathe, but it also can kill you. So,
of course,
a little trade-off there.
Yeah, and then so I'm not. Do not do that. I'm being very clear. Do not huff carbon monoxide.
We do not endorse huffing carbon monoxide on talking and all.
We don't really endorse huffing anything.
Yeah. Don't huff
I have a faculty job I need to keep. If I lose it, you guys are going to be employing me.
The last thing I huffed was like a Sharpie in like 6th grade, like back in the day. Like I don't huff things.
I think I can tell. No, I'm just kidding.
I still do it before every show.
I have just my expo marker. So the other thing that they do is they pre-cool themselves. And I don't fully understand this one, but basically they'll like put ice packs all over themselves and pre-cool themselves prior to race, even if it's not necessarily hot. And their theory is that if you start with a lower core temp, you're less likely to have like the limitations downstream. The other thing they're doing is they're taking Tylenol before their races. This is one, again, I don't recommend because Tylenol is hard on the kidneys and liver. Sure. But there is a paper that suggests that it reduces like your perception of pain, as you might expect.
Well, it reduces the inflammation as you're pounding, right? When you have less inflammation, less lactic acid buildup, the actual theory behind it makes sense, and it's, I guess, similar to why people would rub Bengay and Icy Hot all over themselves. They don't want to feel that pain as they're going through. Where I would have friends that would lather it on. I never put it on. I'm like, I want to know if my muscle's tearing in half. Like, I don't want to go win the race, walk, and then collapse the moment I could feel something again. Like,
yeah. I never used it, but I'll tell you what, I'm racing a mile in August. I'm going to tell you my pre-race strategy.
Buy carbs, Icy
Tylenol, buy carb, Icy Hot, no carbon monoxide. I'm going to take beta-alanine. I'm going to wear Depends. And an hour before the race, I'm going to look like I haven't slept in 8 months. I'm just going to be a shell of a man.
You're going to grow hair back all because of this.
Rogaine. Well, this is another, I'll give you one more ergogenic aid that I think is funny, is Viagra. So Viagra is a vasodilator, and so it increases blood flow. It was actually invented to increase, what was it? I think it was a heart disease drug. And what they found is it had a unique side effect.
Right? We made a movie about the finding of Viagra.
I don't know. But it's like the sticky note. It just happened.
That was not a great transition. Sticky notes, Viagra. This is a kid's show, damn it.
This isn't me. That's you living in a gutter.
Yes.
Point being, Viagra can improve performance.
Sure.
And particularly,
it certainly can.
At altitude, it increases it because it increases pulmonary pressure. So, it increases pulmonary flow. So I'm just saying that there's tons of ways to cheat, and people are still doing it.
Yeah,
I read a paper recently. You remember when thyroid meds were all the rage?
Oh yeah.
Turns out that not only do they increase or decrease body weight, which is the main theory people had, they also happen to increase a very small, tiny structure in your cell called the mitochondria. And
which is the powerhouse of the cell.
Powerhouse of the cell, baby. So they do both of those.
Great science right there.
I know.
No one ever remembers about anything. It's a
organelles, maybe.
Powerhouse of the cell. No one remembers anything about that class besides that.
Powerhouse of the cell. I knew someone that got an entire job at a D1 university, a Research One university, with that line. They're like, mitochondria, powerhouse of the cell. And they just said it enough times where people were like, I learned.
I knows his stuff. This guy knows his stuff.
That's incredible.
He paid attention in 7th grade science. He did good.
Before we let you run away, I do want to ask you, because one of our past guests was Aaron Spider Brown. I've seen him say on multiple times that why is everybody knocking the enhanced games? We watch them every single track meet. And what is your theory on that? Because he flat out is like, listen, at least the guys in the enhanced games are admitting it. The guys in the moon are admitting it.
Fred Curley is very, very active now. He is like vehemently denying, saying that everything's wrong.
And the thing is, Aaron Spider Brown, for whatever reason, knows things that people shouldn't know. It seems like about the track world. So there's things when he says it, and he obviously has the cachet. He's a 22nd guy in the 200. He's fast. He's flat out has been like, listen, at least they're admitting it in the enhanced games. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to name names, but at least they're all admitting it. What is your opinion on that?
I plead the fifth, but I will tell you this. I'm going to give you a little anecdote. And I'm not saying that this is an individual that has doped or not. I don't know, but I'm going to give you some data and I'll allow you to make an inference. Okay. So, do you know the top 5 fastest men ever? Okay. So number 1, Usain Bolt, right?
Yep.
The next 4, I believe are, Tyson Gay,
Johan Blake, right?
Johan Blake, Asafa Powell, and,
probably Justin Gatlin.
Justin Gatlin. I wanted to say Jackson. No, Justin Gatlin. Okay. All 4 of them, you know what they have in common?
They all got suspended, didn't they, at one point?
They all got popped at one point or another. Okay. Now, they've all run sub 9.8, I believe. And of those men who have run sub 9.8, not wind assisted, they are known to dope. Now, Usain Bolt, his world record, what is it, 9.59?
9.58.
Yeah, 9.58.
Okay. He ran 9.58. The next fastest time, I think, is 9.69 by Tyson Gay or something.
It's insane.
So you're going to tell me that Usain Bolt is 0.1 seconds. That is a landslide faster
it's not even close.
than 4 other guys who are known dopers.
I think the 200's even crazier. 1919, I think, is crazier than
He just
958.
doubled
Like
his-
it's just
I
like
mean-
1919 is insane.
Yeah.
And I think next is Noah. I think next
Right.
is Noah with the
1931.
1931.
So I'm not saying that they did or did not, but I am saying that reason and logic would say if someone can beat the next 4 fastest guys who are known dopers, not just by a little bit,
That's a good perspective. Yeah.
but by 0.1 seconds,
And you could probably look
That-
at the top 10 list, and you could probably sit there and 9 out of those 10, maybe 8 out of those 10, you take away one besides Usain,
Have all been popped.
have all probably been popped or with whereabouts or something, right? Because that's the one thing I do enjoy about, as much as I think the USATF and all the doping agencies are not amazing.
it's a joke.
I do enjoy the fact that they've added the whereabouts, because if you're just
They will
skipping-
follow people around, man. They
there's,
will follow
there's a
people
reason
around.
why you're skipping out, and if you don't have a legitimate
Three
reason, then
times. I mean,
understand that.
it is 2026. You should not miss 3 whereabouts. And
I think that happened.
Blaming it on the app was smart by Fred Curler. That was the app's fault. Good job, Fred.
I mean, I don't know like what the I'm not saying that he did, because at the end of the day,
Right, you
he's
don't know.
innocent. He's innocent until
Sure.
proven guilty, and I don't
Absolutely.
think necessarily that he cheated. He has incredible physiology. If you look at his mechanics, if you look at his force,
Listen,
and he's big. Like he's
I
big.
think
You
he's
know
one
what
of
big
the
things tend to do?
400.
They stay in
He's
motion.
almost gifted
I
guys
think he's
who's
one of the
doing-
only people ever to run sub 98, sub 20, and sub 45.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
monster.
Like,
He's
or
freaky.
no, he like people don't.
He's
do
still a
all
goat.
3 of those. Yeah, he's.
Yeah.
love
And
that.
I think that people are obviously cheating. Like there's no, you have the data. Like Wada posts, Sidious Mag posts something every week where it's like so and so got popped for doping, so and so got popped for doping, and it's big names. Like
Oh, yeah.
these are not just like
So
average
do the punishments
Joes.
need to be steeper? That's the thing, is it? Because right now it's like, if you're sitting there and say I'm 22, 21, I'm on top of the world, I'm a marathoner, whatever, right? And I get popped and they give me a 9-month suspension. That's 0 time as a marathon. I'm going to go train for 9 months, right? And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to run faster because
They don't get
lifting
9
my
though.
clock.
It's like 4 years.
But even that,
Yeah.
if you're a 26
Shelby Houlihan
marathoner and you
came
get
back.
and you get popped for 4 years as a 26-year-old, you're coming back at 30.
Yeah, I
okay,
mean,
I'm in the prime of marathon running shape, right? Like,
Yeah.
Shelby Houlihan.
and you
she-
can. And
Oh,
it's
man.
Not like it's not like they can't race. They can race in
Have you-
unsanctioned meets.
I don't know. You should see, if you go to my Instagram page, you can watch Shelby Houlihan's kick in one of these races. And it's the greatest kick I've ever seen.
Oh,
it is.
she's not-
It is extraordinary. She gaps
Pouncing, man.
Schweizer. I think she gaps Schweizer by like. It's got to be like 50 meters in the span of 150
And
meters.
Carisha
It
Schweizer
is.
is no slouch of a kick either. She's
That's what I'm
great.
saying.
Yeah.
Like she just bodies them. And so, do I think the punishment should be steeper? I would say no, and here's why.
I agree.
Because I think if you do that, everyone's screwed. And I'm not saying that everyone's gonna, but it's gonna become a witch hunt, right?
Yeah,
And
it's true. It's true.
I think like I tend to be empathetic and gracious and trying to understand where people are doing, why people are doing what they're doing. I think people make genuine mistakes. They just don't know. I think some people are doing it and they know they're doing it, but it's like,
Sure.
what's my other option? And I think you said it first, Alex, like if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. And if everybody
Agreed.
else is doing it, what other option do I have? And so
And
I will be clear. I don't think that everybody's cheating. I do not think, I think there are tons of clean athletes out there.
sure.
They're just not winning
But-
first,
but-
second, third, fourth, or sixth, or 10th.
But also,
I'm just joking.
but all right. So, but what do the fans want to see? We put the pressure on the athletes because we want to see world records. We want to see fast times. We want to see Mark McGuire hit 70 freaking home runs. Like, it's like the pressure is there from the fans too. Whether we want to admit, we can all say we want our athletes clean. Yeah, but we also want 6 guys running 3-4.
Well, listen, I've actually said myself personally,
So
like,
it's like,
when it comes to like baseball, they talk about the steroid era. I loved it.
yeah,
Give
I
me
know.
more
fun.
home runs. Because
Yeah,
the
it was
pitchers were
fun.
doing it too. They were throwing cheese. And
Yeah, put them all in the Hall of Fame. They were all cheating. But like
if
the point is, like,
athletes want to destroy their body to impress me, absolutely. Just don't let them do it under 18, right? Like if pros want to sit there and completely destroy their body to impress the fan, they should be allowed to.
You've
But then we
just
should leave-
described the NFL.
We
Yeah,
should set
Just
that standard.
described the
That's okay.
NFL.
I'm fine. Listen, I played football for 10 years. I'm fine with that as long as, but
So-
it's played and taught incorrectly now. So don't get me
Yeah.
started on football. Football
So-
drives me nuts.
So I think to wrap it up, like, because I gotta hop here in a minute, but I
Yeah,
think
yeah. We appreciate
I
you.
think no, it's been awesome, and hopefully this isn't picked up by some like news article. I don't know, but
No one watches us. Don't
I'll
worry.
deny it. No, no one watches us. So I think
Those guys edited what I said.
it wasn't me. It was AI. But I think when it comes to like the performance enhancing stuff and like what to do and how to approach it, I, part of me just wants to see the testing better, because the problem right now is that you can travel all over the world, you can hide from WADA, and it just begs the question, right? And I'm not saying people are or aren't,
Right.
but like you said, people want to see fast times. People are desperate to run fast, and why? Because they don't make any freaking money if they don't.
Yep.
And it's a broader issue. USATF is a mess. Nike is a mess. I mean, it's a mess, and it's driven by corporate greed, and that's just the way it is. And so is the NFL, and that's why it is. Like anything that has money is going to have corruption. If track and
100%.
field has corruption, you're going to
Anything
tell me that like everything has corruption
Sure.
in it when it comes to athletics. So
because we don't have money and we still have corruption.
exactly. It's like if we're cheating and we don't have money, then what's multi-billion-dollar industries? What are they doing? I wonder if they're cheating.
And like we take by car because that's what we can afford. What are they taking in those sports where they actually have money?
that don't make them crap their pants.
Right.
So
cortisone shots, which should also be illegal.
we have to find a solution, because the biochemistry is there. We have
Absolutely.
biochemical techniques that are highly sensitive to do this. They're expensive, but there are even miniaturized versions of this. How do I know? I worked for a company that was developing some of these things to test for legitimate biohazards, but we can apply it in the same manner. Like we can build a mass spectrometer the size of a microwave. And that's unbelievable.
That's insane, actually, to
Like-
think that was the size of like a house.
Exactly. Right. I mean, it
huge
was
when first
massive.
thought of. Yeah.
Right. But now we have portable versions of these. So there's no reason why we can't do this other than some of the analytical stuff. But I think with better testing, which I think has to come at some point, we'll find out. But some of these peptides have half-lives of like 30 minutes.
Right.
So like,
And I think there's also the will, right? Do they really want to test? Like Dave says, do they really want to take some of these great athletes out, or
Baseball
do they want to say that they're
didn't either,
testing,
huh?
and when they pop a few, and okay, we did our jobs. But in the end, though, the saving grace for all of us is pretty soon we're all going to be cyborgs anyway. So we're going to have the non-cyborg versus cyborg games, and that's it. So anyway, that's how we're going to close it out with that peachy appearance right there. So Dr. Bill Evans, thank you so much for coming.
Incredible.
We appreciate it,
Thank
man.
you.
it was a pleasure, guys. This was fun. Thank you for having
We
me.
absolutely have to have you back on, because I feel like we could talk about so much more. Like,
Sure.
as much as you apologize for kind of nerding out with the science stuff,
I loved it.
that's some of the cool stuff that I think we don't get to hear enough, which is I think that your podcast, the Endurance Lab podcast, is going to do very well. So once again, everyone go on YouTube and go follow Dr. Bill Evans over there, and make sure that you are, maybe I should pull it up. Maybe I should actually be a good podcaster, and maybe I should pull it up again, and we'll do that. So make sure you are here. Let's see. Aha.
Yeah, check out the Endurance Lab podcast, Spotify, Apple, all that. And then you can also check us out on YouTube. I'm more, I pay attention more to our Spotify and Apple downloads, but I'm going to get better at YouTube. And then also, if you're bored, you can check us out on Instagram, Dr. Evans running _ across the board.
How do people get in
And
touch to get coached by you, by the way?
Yeah, good question. So you can apply at endurancelaboratory.com. I couldn't get the Endurance Lab. Turns out that URL was stolen. So there's a link tree in my purchased. There's a link tree in my Instagram. You can click on it. You can apply online. I will tell you this, my training is not easy. So
Good.
If you want to be coached by someone that's just going to give you easy workouts, I'm not for you. Yeah, that's the website. I got to update it. It's old. It's okay. But it's got some details, frequently asked questions, apply. Yeah, so you can apply on there. We'd love to have you. We're a lot cheaper than a lot of other services, and I would argue as qualified as you can humanly possibly be.
And there's science behind it.
There's Stephanie.
Yeah.
Hey, Stephanie.
Yeah, Stephanie's great. She's
Look at that stud.
Look
Dude,
at
you
that.
like that? You like that headshot?
I do.
Man, I'm embarrassed pulling it up in front of me. But I'm glad it worked. It's good to know.
No, there you go.
So yeah, give me a follow on Instagram, check me out on the website, apply if you're interested in being coached. Sometimes I say if you're interested in coaching, and then I get people being like, I'd like to coach for you. And I'm like, no, that's not what I'm asking.
Yeah, make sure you word that properly.
Yeah.
I don't want to pay you to do anything. Pay me. No.
Yeah. But
Go
I
ahead.
really appreciate you guys for having me on and plugging my stuff.
Absolutely. So we appreciate everyone that watched wherever you watched from, YouTube, X, Facebook, Twitch, or Kick. Smash the like button, subscribe, and Dr. Evans has to get out of here. So we'll be back next week with another fun guest. Everyone, thank you so much.
Thanks,
so
guys.
long.
Thanks, everyone.